This is the Low Key Podcast. I do not own the rights to the music. It's being played in future podcasts or past podcasts. This is the Low Key Podcast, episode 34, DC versus DC. What's going on? You now tuned into the Low Key Podcast, episode 34, DC versus DC. I'm going to be talking about Warner Brothers, DCEU, as far as their DC movies and what they have going on, because they're making plans of making basically a multiverse of the DC, which is basically bringing in different versions of characters, like two different Batmans, maybe two different Supermans, stuff like that. So they're basically trying to do something, I would say, kind of different from Marvel. The only thing, when I say different from Marvel, I guess they're doing something that Marvel hasn't really done, but you kind of see Marvel is kind of working on the whole multiverse thing. You know what I'm saying? With the way they're doing with the Spider-Man. So I've seen the thing where they was like, it hasn't been done yet. Well, it kind of hasn't, but at the same time, I mean, they're currently doing it. So I don't think they're going to be the first ones to do it, but still, what they're doing, and the reason I start this off with the Batman, because that's one of the main things. This main article is focused on bringing two separate Batman franchises running simultaneously. And if you know what that means, you means they're going to be running together. It's going to be two different Batmans, but it's going to be two different universes and two different movies. So a lot of the things they're going to be doing, and this is probably coming from Matt Reeves' The Batman with Robert Pattinson. That is not going to be a part of the DCEU. It's not going to be a part of that. It's going to be its own franchise. And with the Flash movie, that's going to be bringing and re-energizing the Batman for DCEU. It's going to be a Batman that's going to be in DCEU, and it's going to be a Batman that's separate from the DCEU. A Batman with its own franchise that has nothing to do with DCEU and their other movies like Justice League, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all that. The Flash movie, which will have Michael Keaton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman, is going to be the movie that's a part of the other DCEU movies, which is Justice League, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman. So they're going to be experimenting with this, and they're going to probably be doing it with more than Batman, but right now they're just talking about doing it with Batman, because what the DCEU is trying to do, and the reason I'm talking about this is they're trying to have separate properties that come on HBO Max. So I'm not sure if they're going to try to do the Ben Affleck's Batman on HBO Max and have Robert Pattinson's Batman being on regular theatrical releases. And I'm thinking that's maybe what they're doing, because they're doing this with Justice League as far as bringing it to HBO Max. So I'm thinking that's what they're setting up, because you have the Peacemaker with John Cena that's going to be coming on HBO Max. There's a Batman spinoff, I think, that's coming on HBO Max, with I don't think they're named yet. But even with movies, they're going to be, I'm thinking, trying to do a Batgirl movie and Static Shock movie straight to HBO Max. Because as far as I know right now, they're pretty much trying to release probably 4 movies or 4 to 2 shows included each year, because they pretty much have 2022 mapped out, because they're already doing all their 2021 releases on HBO Max. But as far as the DCEU movies, a lot of those movies are coming straight to theaters. They're not going to be on HBO Max. But some of those DCU movies, like, I guess, like lower known characters, for instance, Static Shock and Batgirl probably aren't too known. I mean, Batgirl you might know a little bit, but she ain't somebody like a Robin. She ain't Robin. So these two properties are probably going to go on HBO Max most likely, which is not a bad idea at all. I think that's actually a good idea, especially with Static Shock. But hearing what they're going to do with Batman, which is, to me, not no problem at all, because if you want me to be honest, I always said with the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, I wouldn't mind seeing a Batman in that universe. But what I'm thinking is maybe they're setting that Robert Pattinson Batman up with that, because if you remember, Joker is not part of DCEU either, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. So Matt Reeves' Batman and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, both of those are not going to be a part of DCEU. So are they going to try to put those two together in their own world? Because I was one of those that said I wouldn't mind seeing. I don't know if you could do. Yeah, I think you can do two separate movies without Batman with the Joker, and you can do two more movies with Batman without the Joker. And see what I'm saying is, if they're going to do a Joaquin Phoenix Joker versus Robert Pattinson's Batman, I could see them having two more Joker movies and two more Batman movies that's leading into one full movie with Batman and Joker. And if you could do two good movies each with these properties, I wouldn't mind that at all. So, but if you don't have enough, or you feel like you don't need to even do all of that, I do wish they would do at least one more movie leading into them being in one movie. They could do that. And that third movie could be the movie where they're together, if they're going to do that, because with everything they're talking about, as far as this multiverse thing, I feel like, why couldn't they do that? I feel like that's something they very much could put in, and something that they could do that would definitely make you know that these are two separate things, as far as Ben Affleck's and Michael Keaton's Batman and Robert Pattinson's Batman and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. So it's going to be a puzzle to see what they're going to try to do with that, because what I'm seeing, they're talking about Wonder Woman, Earth 1, while Robert Pattinson's Batman will belong to Earth 2. And that's the whole thing with the multiverse thing. It might sound a little confusing, but I think if you start watching it, and if you understand a little bit more, you will, because they've done this before. They've done it on TV anyway, with Smallville. They've done it with the Arrow TV show too, as far as DC. So seeing them try to do this, I think it won't be surprising at all, especially with what they're doing with the Flash and them having both of Michael Keaton's Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman in there. And I'm telling you right now, do not be surprised if Christian Bale's Batman is somewhere in that Flash movie. Do not be surprised. I mean, I don't know if they're going to even go that route, because, of course, but like Michael Keaton's Batman had nothing to do with DCU either. You know what I'm saying? So I won't be surprised at all if they do that. And I think this is going to be an announcement that they're not going to make, because you've had all these announcements come out as far as Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck playing Batman. And I would not be surprised at all if they throw Christian Bale's Batman in here. So I think everybody should definitely be looking out for that. But hearing what Warner Brothers is trying to do with DCEU as far as having this multiverse thing go, I hope they know what they're doing, because as we all know, them trying to do a whole DC universe like what Marvel did, it did not pan out good. And when they took that step back, and you see what they did with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and recently Joker, you're like, okay, maybe we can do something like Shazam, like all these movies. And these movies are supposed to be connected as far as Shazam, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman. So they can do it, but they have to take their time and do it the right way. And the way they're sounding, maybe they have a mapped out plan already, and something that they have concrete solid that's going to make people want to see these. Because I'm telling you now, I know a lot of people gonna be like, okay, what if I get confused on multiple Batmans? If these movies are good, you won't be confused. You're going to understand everything. That's the thing about it. The movies have to be good. So it's exciting to me, honestly, to see what they're trying to do with this, because I have not seen this yet. You know what I'm saying? Marvel hasn't had two Iron Mans, two Black Widows, etc., etc. But But I am hearing that they have a lot going on as far as Marvel goes with doing these type of things. I've been hearing a lot of things that they have coming down the pipeline, but I don't think those things are going to come out before DC, because I think DC already has these things going, because a lot of these movies are going to be filming next year. Give or take the virus and everything that's going on with that, but I do think we'll see DCEU's use of the multiverse before we see Marvel's, because even with the WandaVision thing, that's going to be leading into Doctor Strange, and I think both of those are coming out way before we even get to Spider-Man 3, which I think is going to be the main movie to dive deepest into the whole multiverse thing. And I think that's going to be even a pivotal movie to bring it to life. But maybe Doctor Strange is going to be that movie to do that, because, I mean, it is called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So I'm saying, but as far as DC, I just hope they are going to take their time with trying to bring this to life, because like I said, with the failure of the whole DCEU universe, them trying to do what Marvel did with movies leading up to Justice League, it did not work. And I hope they took a step back to see what they're doing with this, because the movies they have done, like even Birds of Prey, is not a bad movie. So I do hope they kind of either go a different angle with Harley Quinn. I ain't saying they got to find another person, but if they're going to do multiverses, maybe they should try that. The problem with that is if somebody comes in and take that role and steal that role from Maggie, I can't think of her name, Maggie Roberts. I'm sorry, but the girl that plays the current Harley Quinn, I would love for them to try to do a multiverse with her, and maybe even one more person play a different Harley Quinn to see how they goes from there. Because it takes me back to what I was saying about the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. The reason why I said they should do another Joker movie that would be leading to him facing off against a Batman, I would love to see them bring in Harley Quinn in a different version than they have with the Harley Quinn that's in the DCEU. You see, that's what I'm saying. I would love to see that version of Harley Quinn in the Joker's universe. Not saying that they have a whole universe with Joker, but I'm saying in that type of movie environment, the way they had Joaquin Phoenix Joker, because seeing that build up and just seeing a whole movie on their relationship building as far as Joker and Harley Quinn, I think is phenomenal. And if you telling me that, because they're already saying I'm telling you right now, they're working on a script for Joker 2. They're working on it. And I'm telling you now, it's going to involve a Harley Quinn. It's going to involve a Harley Quinn. Because I don't see how you wouldn't have him he's in the asylum now, as far as, Joker, the movie Joker. So, if you've known anything about history of the comics or whatnot, or even with the shows, or even with current movies recently, Harley Quinn is a person that was working in Arkham Asylum when Joker's in there. So seeing if they would lead into that for that next Joker movie, I think would be a good idea. Because basically, I mean, this shit is crazy when you look at it, because it's basically the same thing. It's the same thing. Because Flash is basically Spider-Man. Think about it. You got Flash that's going to be looking for that mentor dude and blah, blah, blah. Then you got Spider-Man who's going to be looking for that mentor because he doesn't have Iron Man no more, which is going to be Doctor Strange. They're basically doing the same thing. My whole thing is just going to be, if both of these are good, I don't care. That's the thing. As us as fans, can both of the movies just be good? That's all I think we want. And Marvel has proven their point. We know what we're going to get from Marvel. We got to wait to see what DC is going to do. That's the thing. And if they pull this off, it's going to be crazy. Because you already was going crazy with hearing about them bringing Michael Keaton back. And then, hold on, so you got Michael Keaton. All right. So now you telling me you got Ben Affleck coming back too? Two Batmans? And it's a possible chance that you can have Christian Bale's Batman come in too from Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight series. There we go. And then you have Marvel come in and say, okay, we got that sounds cool and all, but how about we bring in all Spider-Mans? I mean, give or take with Andrew Garfield, but I guess you got to do that since it was 2 movies. But, I mean, come on, the real fans, we were like, okay, y'all want to bring him, but that's cool. Tobey Maguire, though? All right, cool, Tobey. And you're going to bring back one of the best villains from one of the best comic book movies, as in Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, which, like I keep saying, people consider one of the best comic book movies out. Yes, we're here for that. So DC, whatever you guys are doing, just make this work. I don't mind it being multiple Batmans. I'm all for it. And one of the main reasons I feel like DCE is going to start off with making this announcement as far as it being Batman, because we know Batman is one of the most popular comic book characters of all. And I'm talking about with all these Marvel characters and everything, Batman, no superpowers, anything, is one of the best comic book characters out. Not only is he one of the best comic book characters out, he has some of the best stories. And he has one, if he doesn't, are you going to tell me, we can have an argument with this too? Batman has some of the best villains. The best villains. And we can all just say, if not, one of the best arch villains is Joker. As Joker. And like I said, both of these guys do not even have powers. Their charisma, their personalities, what they can do without their powers, that's the thing. And that's why I say starting this off with saying we're going to do it with the Batman and not saying if they're going to do this with other characters, I think is the important part. Because Batman is the most popular character and coming out the DC. So trying to see what they're going to do with this and everything else as far as what they're going to try to do with HBO Max, because they're basically trying to build HBO Max up to get it to that, I can't say Netflix, because Netflix is just too big right now. I don't know if they're getting up, but they definitely trying to get up there to Disney Plus. So they need that Mandalorian type show to come on, because Mandalorian right now, and you got all the Star Wars. See, that's the thing about Disney, man. And that's a whole nother podcast. But I do want to say this small thing. You talking about Disney with the Star Wars franchise, which I don't even watch at all. I watch Mandalorian because that's a pretty good show. And I still ain't even caught up on that. But anyway, you have the Star Wars and Marvel. And to be honest, people are really waiting on those Marvel shows. They got so many that's about to hit. So I'm saying DC, they are definitely coming in saying, okay, we got to add these side comic book shows. And I think it's perfect what they're doing with like the Peacemaker with John Cena. They can do so much with the Batman because it has so many characters in there. But I feel like they need to wait for certain characters like a Robin and stuff. That needs to be in a movie. Because Robin and Batman has the stories with these two. They can do so much with it, with all the villain things and everything. And even with Shazam and Black Adam, which I forgot to mention, but we still have The Rock's, Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam, which is going to go into early production in 2021. So this is exciting to hear what they're trying to do. We as fans just hope they come through with some good story and some good movies. Because that's all we want to see. Good storytelling and good movies. But I just wanted to give my input on what's going on as far as DCEU and their movies with Warner Brothers. And like I said, hopefully they make some good material that we can watch, some good content we can look at, man, because I'm really rooting for it because I'm a fan of both. But I grew up watching Batman, Superman, and these type of things. And I finally got into the Spider-Man animated series, X-Men, because X-Men was my Marvel. Anything you saw as Marvel was X-Men and the Hulk. That was mine, but as far as DCEU, is definitely Batman and Superman. Definitely. I watched Justice League cartoons too, but it was always Batman animated series, man, all day. But thank you for tuning in, man. I definitely wanted to give a little update on what's going on as far as the comic book movies or whatnot. So thank you for tuning in. This is the Low Key Podcast, episode 34, DC versus DC. We out.